I explain the sport, I explain dimensions,
About the size of a football field with 2 end zones.
number of players,
7-on-7,
offense, defense.
One team throws the disc on a kickoff,
kind of like football.
called a pull. The receiving team catches it and tries to advance it upfield by throwing passes to each other.
It's kind of like lacrosse, kind of like basketball.
Once a pass is thrown and caught, the receiver has to stop and establish a pivot foot.
Score.
The object is to score a goal, and that's like throwing a touchdown in football. However, it's only worth 1 point.
Goal.
If the defense knocks it down or intercepts it, or if the offensive person drops it, then it's a turnover. Offense becomes defense, defense becomes offense, and we're going the other way with everything. There are 3 basic kinds of throws: backhand, a forehand. You also have overhead or hammers. Slight variation on that is a scuba, which is kind of more of a flip pass. Officiating is done by the players themselves. A play will happen on the field. The 2 players will try to work it out. They can't, and then they go to the observer. The spirit of the game probably dictates that spiking the disc isn't proper etiquette, but you've got to let the kids have their fun.
Ultimate is played in teams of 7-on-7.
You start play with what's called a pull, and it's sort of like a kickoff. Somebody tries to make a long, generally high throw from their end zone line and tries to loft it up in the air so they can run down and set up their defense.
And when the offensive team receives it, they have to establish a pivot foot, like basketball.
You advance the frisbee down the field by passing to your teammate. Once you have the frisbee, you can't run with it, and you score a goal by throwing it to a teammate who is standing in the end zone.
Every time you catch it in the end zone, you get a point.
You can turn from offense to defense very quickly. So you can be running very hard and making an open cut. If there's a turnover somewhere on the field, you're now on defense.
The defensive player is trying to keep you from throwing downfield.
3, 4, 5.
You have 10 seconds to get rid of the frisbee. So when you catch it and establish your pivot foot, the defensive man will come up and count to 10. And if you don't get rid of the frisbee by the count of 10, then it's a turnover.
A disc can turn over in a number of ways. If it goes out of bounds, or if it hits the ground, or if it's intercepted by the defensive team. In any of those cases, play doesn't stop it. It immediately changes possession and goes to the other team.
A good player can throw a backhand, a forehand, hammer, and for the advanced users, the high release backhand, the scuba, and the push pass.
Games are played to 15, most of them anyways. The later games, like the semis and finals, I think, are played to 17.
These players out here, they give everything they've got to it, and that's what's so exciting about it.
For the next 4 days on roughly soccer-sized fields, offensive teams of 7 will work together to advance a disc with an arsenal of throws, attempting to score a point by catching the frisbee in the end zone. A defensive team of 7 will try to stop this advance with a variety of different strategies, from the so-called man-to-man defense, which relies on athleticism and speed, to complex zone defenses that frustrate the offense by denying them downfield passes. Rules are enforced by the players on the field, with sideline observers settling disputes when asked.